Good morning, everyone. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Ali Bilgin Varlık from Istanbul Arel University. Welcome to the International Regional Congress 2025, entitled Regional Integration in Central Asia and the Caucasus, Challenges and Prospects. Today, we will conclude the whole Congress in 3 sessions. Before starting, please accept my deep respect for your contribution. And before starting the first session, I would like to say a few words on the scope and the aim of the Congress. From a global perspective, Central Asia and the Caucasus as a geographical complex is one of the most notable regions in the world. The area also marks unprecedented geographical importance and geo-ethnic composition for Turkish peoples. Shared Turkish identity, however, is not mature enough for regional integration, but is one of the most driving force of the regional dynamics, which has a potential for changes in the Eurasian continent. Well, changing the geographic of the region, which retains challenges and prospects in the same pot, is crucial not only for its periphery, but also for the rest of the world. While the great and regional powers contest interstate, intrastate, and extra-state conflicts, terrorism and organized crime challenges the stability of the region, prospects for security, economic and organizational cooperation provide a new horizon of peace, stability, and prosperity. Central Asia's and the Caucasus future will likely be more dynamic than ever. The changing dynamics of the region transforms its geopolitics. The 21st century has brought a new atmosphere of cooperation, uncertainties, risks, and threats to the region. A new understanding of the scholarship is one of the determinant factors in shaping a safe and secure future for the region. This may also help positive developments for the entire world. Thus, Istanbul Arel University, Turkey, has organized the International and Regional Political Studies Congress 2025, entitled Regional Integration in Central Asia and the Caucasus, Challenges and Prospects. Congress' aim is to discuss the present and future areas of concern and opportunities in Central Asia and the Caucasus, and analyze and assess the possibility of regional integration. These are the ones that I could say for the opening session. Now, in the first session, we have 9 speakers. The topic of the first session is the new geopolitics of Central Asia and the Caucasus. Thanks God, we have the first speaker together with us, Assistant Professor Cavit Zafer from Karabük University, Turkey. Is going to present the changing strategic geography of Eurasia and Central Asia, Asian strategic chessboard. Dear Zafer, welcome on board. We are glad to host you in the Congress. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Before starting, what I would ask from you, from all the speakers, to limit their presentation in 10 or 12 minutes. After that, at the end of the session, we are going, at the end of the this session, we are going to have a question answer session.
Okay, so am I audible?
Yes, please start.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. My name is Javed Zafar, and I'm assistant professor in Karabakh University. And thank you very much for your invitation. I will discuss about the changing strategic geography of Eurasia and Central Asian strategic chessboard. We know that the geography is the basically fundamental condition for human existence. Whatever our decision we take, either it is the political or it is a non-political, economical, social, culture, all things are basically influenced by the geography. I'm not saying this is directed by or controlled by, but the influenced by, because there is a debate in geography, determinism and non-determinism. So the possibilities are basically more important than the determinism. When we said the geography can be divided basically, geography can be defined like this is the study of the relationship between the physical features of the earth and the human society. When we see the physical features, these are the surface, these are the water bodies, these are the atmosphere, and these are the biosphere. And all these things are very much important in our political decision making, strategic decision making, our foreign policy, and military strategy. When we discuss about the geography, geography can be divided in basically two parts, in human geography and the physical geography. So we are not here to discuss about the physical geography, but physical geography also change very slowly. In comparison of that, the human geography change very fastly. And human geography is basically can be divided in further different part because all the human aspects are covered by the human geography. And the political geography is the part of the basically the human geography. And political geography is the political management or spatial management of the politics of the human. So the strategic geography is operational part of this political geography. And strategic geography, basically, we can refer to the control or to access to the spatial areas like the land, water, and air, including the outer space, is becoming very much important nowadays. And it has an impact, either positive or negative, on our security and economic prosperity of any nation. And basically, it embraces all the dimension of geography, which include both physical and the human geographical perspective. Economic geography is also very much important in strategic geography calculation because economic geography is our pipeline, our energy facilities, our urbanization, our industries, our trade routes are very much important nowadays. For example, we can understand that how the Djibouti is a very small country in Africa, but it is becoming very important. Why? Because this is very much a transit point and choke point in Africa, between Africa and Asia, as the Bab el Mandeb. So economic geography and the military geography, we discuss about, it is about the time and distance, impact that physical constraint, and our military operations. So these were some basic ideas and fundamental to understand the basically what is the strategic geography and what is the relation with the geography. The other important thing is to understand that technology basically impact or influence the strategic geography in a very dynamic manner. As the technology would change, the idea about the geography would also be changed because there are two type of the things. One is the absolute geography and second is the relative geography. Absolute geography cannot be changed, but the relative geography would change as the ideas would be changed and technology play the very important role in that scenario. There is a very important concept as well, which is we call time-space comparison. Time-space comparison of mean that because of the technology, because of the communication advancement, now the distance and time has been compressed. So this also give an idea about the give the different idea about the geography as well. So the idea of the Eurasia began with as the political geography developed, and it was basically the Ritzel who is considered the father of the political geography and the geopolitics as well. But geopolitics become very famous after the very famous theory, which is called the heartland theory by the Mackendier. And Mackendier basically took the analogy from the Alfred Thayer Mahan. Alfred Thayer Mahan was American historian and geographer, and who gave a formula that the global history is basically divided in two parts, which is the land power and the sea power are always in clash and in struggle. And historically, basically, the sea power always victorious. So this was his analogy, but the Mackintosh basically took this analogy, yes, and he said, no doubt, that in the clash of the sea power and land power, sea power always victorious, but there is an area in the global in the globe that which is becoming very powerful and changing very fastly that can challenge sea power very successfully. And he identified this area as a heartland. And he gave another formula that who rules the Eastern Europe command the heartland, and who rule the heartland command the world island, and who rule the world island command the world basically. So the heartland theory was based on the areas which was very far from the sea power approach, and it was because of the technology, because they thought that uh, the whatever the facilities, whatever the technology, whatever the military ability sea power has had, if this area can be unified through single power, this area can basically give a challenge to the sea power. So Central Asia was very much part of the heartland theory, and it was the beginning of that when the Central Asia become the uh, uh, central point of the global geopolitics or debate and discussions. So at that time, when the center, when the in 1905, when the heartland theory was presented, uh, British rule was in India, and they were also trying to control Afghanistan as well, because they thought that through the Afghanistan, if they could be successfully captured the Afghanistan, they can also control the Central Asia after that, and they can challenge emerging land power, which was basically Russia, because Russia had the control at that time, and Russia had captured Central Asia during at that time. So we see that in history that there were four Afghan British war, and in all Afghan British war, basically the British were defeated, so British could not control or capture the Central Asia. And Russia itself also wanted to use Central Asia as a transit uh, land to control the South Asia as well. Because for last 500 years, Russian ideas was that because of the European atmospheric condition, they should also try to invade or approach to the South Asia as well. So they also could not basically, because of the British approach or because the Afghan resistance very fast, uh, bravely resistance, you can say that. So, but the situation changed very fastly after the Second World War, and Pakistan became a new country, Afghanistan became independent, and it was a buffer zone between the India and the Central Asia. And because of the after Second World War, Russia emerged as a second superpower in the world. And at that time, the Eastern Europe was also controlled by the Russia. So there was no any point to challenge the Russian supremacy in the heartland and in the Eastern Europe. So the analogy failed, Mackintosh analogy failed because he predicted that who control the Eastern Europe, they can control the heartland, and who control the heartland can control the world island. World island means the Europe, Asia, and Africa as well. So at that time, Russia was controlling Eastern Europe, Russia was controlling the heartland, but Russia was not able to control world island. Because why? Because the new theory was introduced by the John Spikeman. And Spikeman say, look, no doubt heartland is very much important, but rimland is more important. And rimland was the area, basically, you can say that the area of the sea and the land, combination of the sea and the land, combination of the land power and the sea power as well. And you will see that if you see the map, that whole Middle East, whole Southeast Asia, whole Eastern China Sea, and the whole Europe was basically, he said that, look, if you control the rimland, you can control the Eurasia, and you can control the Eurasia, you can control the world island, and you control the world island, you control the world basically. So at that time, because heartland was controlled by the Russia, so they use a different idea, and this idea was basically the containment. Containment was basically firstly introduced by the Spikeman, and they started to contain Russia, that Russia could control its lose on Eastern Europe and simultaneously loses control from the heartland as well, from the Central Asia as well. So after a long period, we see that uh, Russia basically was defeated after the containment, and Russia loses control on the from the Central Asia, and Russia also lose the control from the Eastern Europe as well. So as the Central Asia become another independent country, or sorry, region, so again, a classical geopolitics again started to become, because there was a power vacuum, and this region was also basically, it was in the center of the China, Russia, Iran, and Pakistan, and India as well. You can count that. So again, uh, it became the focal point for the global struggle as well. But uh, all the countries had the limited approach and limited power, because Russia had uh, military bases there, legacy there, economic leverage and cultural leverage there, but they did not have the economic power as well. It was China basically who adopted a different policy, and he adopted a geo-economic tool. Whereas the Russia was basically using geo-cultural tool, China was using as a geo-economical tool. At the same time, when a new idea emerged basically, and the idea was about the Zebulon Brzezinski gave a new idea about the Eurasia, and he said that, look, if we want to again that no power should be challenged to America, we should avoid and ignore that a single superpower should not be controlled the Eurasia again. That, and he said that China is China may be the potential superpower. Russia can also be emerged. Iran is also a very anti-Western country. Pakistan and Afghanistan are culturally totally different, and there are anti-American and anti-Western sentiments are there. So we should not basically allow to unify a region which can be totally anti-American or anti-Western basically. So in 2000 they invaded Afghanistan, that they can pressurize America, they can pressurize China, they can pressurize Russia, and they can pressurize the Pakistan and Iran as well. So at the and other things was basically the idea was presented by the Huntington. He said basically the clash of civilization. So at two front Western countries or Western nation basically approached. One was the clash of civilization idea, and other was the to stop and prevention and unification in Eurasia. And Central Asia was basically, or Afghanistan was basically, was captured because of the both region. But historically, it was not possible after the Afghan resistance and after the Russian and Chinese political unity. America had to basically leave the region, because the Eastern Europe was becoming more important, because Russia was basically approaching to the Eastern Europe again, and he wanted to influence Eastern Europe again. And he thought that if he will influence Eastern Europe again in the future, he can make his position strengthen in heartland as well. So in the post-Cold War region, we say the clash of civilization, return of the classical geopolitics, and stopping the multipolarity, and stop the unification of the Eurasia. And all these things were basically, the Central Asia was in the center of all these things. And they wanted to that, if we control the Central Asia, Afghanistan, we can achieve all these goals in a single manner. But the Ukraine war basically changed the game, because they thought that if the Russia would be strengthened in Eastern Europe, it can be basically again a classical geopolitical situation again. Simultaneously, Russia thought that if the NATO, Ukraine would be the NATO member, the Georgia would be the NATO member, NATO would be reach up to the Caspian Sea. And as their NATO would be see up to the Caspian Sea, in the future, ultimately, they would control the Central Asia, and they would contain the China as well. So now we can say that the Ukraine war has become a focal point, and the result of the Ukraine war would be decide the future of the Central Asia as well. If the Russia lose the Ukraine war, so ultimately the Georgia would be the NATO member, and we can also predict that, because the Turkey is also the NATO member, the Azerbaijan would be the NATO member, and in Caspian Sea, and as the Caspian Sea would be there, the whole Central Asia would be under the Western influence directly there. Second thing is that Turkey is also emerging in the area very fastly there, and Turkey is approaching that because of the common legacy, historical legacy, cultural and religious legacy, and ethnic legacy as well. So though Turkey is trying to unify the region, though we cannot say that how successful it would be, because the China is there, Russia is there, and America is also trying to approach the region as well. The China is basically also influencing the region and approaching the region through the geo-economic tool, as I told you that. And China is launching Belt and Road Initiative. China has the ambition to become the global power. And if you cannot control your neighbor countries, if you don't have influence in your neighbor countries, if you don't have any unification that, so you cannot become a global power, because this is the same thing which America did in the past through the Monroe Doctrine. So China is basically using this. So things would be depend on the two things. One, what will be the outcome of the Ukraine war, and how the China would adopt a new policy, and how basically uh, China's approach would be there. If China's approach would be against the Russia or against the Iran or against the Afghanistan, so China would be failed, because these countries also want that there should be buffer between the big powers, between the Russia, between the China, between the Iran and Afghanistan and Pakistan as well. So thank you very much. These were some things about the changing strategic geography and Central Asia. Thank you.
Mr. Javed Zafer, many thanks for your quite valuable assessment on the strategic chessboard in Central Asia. Your paper were quite good on giving us a framework on how the geopolitics should be handled within the parameters of political, human, economic, and strategic perspective. Then after you gave us a good view on the historical developments, and at the end you came to the current situation, and it's well designed. It's quite well designed that the Central Asia is really at the center of the power struggle between the great global powers. At the end of this session, what I would ask from you is to, if possible, is to give us your ideas about the people's factor, that this area is more condensed with the Turkish peoples. So whether the Turkish identity, how this Turkish identity can contribute to the strategic and geopolitics of the region, and based on the recent developments that the Turkey is leading, that the Turkish states, in which Turkish states come together and establish some organizational steps, and how this new development can contribute to the geopolitics of the region. If possible, I would like to take your contributions on that. If you are available right now, you can go on this matter.
Okay,
If you
thank
want.
you very much. Yeah, no problem. It will be better, no problem. You know that as I told you that the Central Asia is basically the region, the central region in the Eurasia, and Turkey approach is very, it's the beginning of that. You can say that it will depend on that how the Turkey basically use the different type of the tool, because you unified the region. We need a technological power, we need economical power, we need diplomatic and cultural power as well. So Turkey has the cultural power, no doubt, as we have seen, ethnically, culturally, linguistically they are the same people. Second, historical linkage is there, culturally and religiously they are same. The problem is that how Turkey would be successful to counter Chinese influence, economic influence in the region, because it is depend on it is the important thing. Second thing is that still in Central Asian state, the ruling elite, they are also still influenced by the Russian. Actually, you can say that though the situation is changing, but still Russian not the deep state. You can say that influence of Russian political system is very deep in a bureaucracy, in a political system as well. So how the Turkey would be countered two things. One is the political influence of the Turkey of the Russia in the region, and how to counter economic influence or economic leverage of the China in the region, because China is very aggressively investing and influencing, and China is basically taking in the interest in the military affair as well. So culturally, you can say that, or historically, ethnically, Turkey is very close to the Central Asia, but economically and politically not. So it will depend on the future, actually, that how the Turkey would emerge as a power in the region. Thank you.
Many thanks for your additional contribution. It was quite illuminating from our perspective. Many thanks once again. Now we can turn to our second paper, which is presented by four scholars from India, Noida International University. I think we have Mohammed Shahid together with us. Yes. Let me read the owners of the paper. Professor Dr. Kasar Alam, Professor Dr. Yazdani Hasan, Research Scholar Mohammed Shahid, Research Scholar Indu Yadav. Mohammed Shahid, are you going to present the paper?
Yes, sir, I'm going to present the paper, sure.
Okay. The title of this presentation is The Understanding the Regional Security of Central Asia in the Contemporary World. The floor is yours, Mohammed.
Thank you, sir. So far as I'm concerned, my topic is analyzing the new great game and geopolitical dynamics of the Central Asia. First of all, I would like to say thank you to sir. 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry for that. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you to the organizing team that they have given me chance to present the view on this topic, and I'm grateful to the organizers, Istanbul Ariel University, that they have selected my paper, my abstract, as well as my topic, so that I'm able to, in front of you, to share my views of my topic. So with me, Dr. Professor Alam sir was helping us, and Dr. Yazani sir has been help us they are having some contributions in this paper. They have done a lot for me. So far as my presentation is concerned, I would like to give you the introduction of my topic, then their historical background and economic interest and energy politics, and I will like to conclude on the security concern and the regional stability and the role of soft power and the cultural influences, as well environmental challenges and sustainable development, then the future of this great game as well. Then finally we'll conclude and I will show you the references as well. Now all of you, everybody knows that the Central Asia is an increasingly vital region in the global geopolitics due to its strategic location and the natural resources wealth. Historically, it has been a battleground for influence between the major powers, Today, the competition continues in the form of economics investment, we can say military alliances, and the soft power strategies. So this paper seeks to analyze the modern great game and its impact on the region as well. Now, if we'll go to the background of, if we'll go to the historical background for the same, we have seen that in 19th century, the great game between the British and the Russian empires set the stage for today's geopolitical struggles in the Central Asia. After the Soviet Union collapses in 1991, newly independent Central Asia nations become focal point of the global competition. Now, understanding this history helps to contextualize present day power dynamic. Now, if I'm talking about the economic interest and the energy politics, so we know that the Central Asia holds vast oil, gas, minerals, resources, attracting the significant foreign investment like China through its Belt and the Road initiatives RBI and expanded the infrastructure and trade routes in the region. Russia aims to maintain economic ties through the Eurasian Economic Union EAEU, while the US prompts energy diversification to reduce dependence on Russia and Chinese influences as well. Now, if you'll see the figure in terms of economic interest and the energy politics, so we have seen the countries in terms of parameter countries measure energy resources and foreign key investors. So we have seen for the Kazakhstan oil, we have measure energy resources. They are having oil, natural gases, uranium. The key foreign investors like China, Russia, USA as well. If you are talking about the Uzbekistan, natural gases, gold is there, and China, Russia, EU as a key foreign investors. If I'm talking about the Kazakhstan to gold and hydropower, and the main foreign investors China and Russia as well. Tajikistan, if I'm talking about the hydropower aluminum, so we have seen another part, the key foreign investors like China and Russia as well. So likewise, if we'll see in terms of country and the major energy resources and the key foreign investors, so we have seen this figure. Now, when we are talking about the energy production in the Central Asia, in million tons of oil equivalent, so again we are having the countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan as well. So in 2010, 2015, 2020, if I'll compare with the same, so we would get the figure like 210, 150. 2015 we got 170, then 22010. So likewise, the different countries we are having the several parameters accordingly, like 55, 60, 65, 75, 80, and 85, 10, 9, 11, 8, 9, and 11 as well. So these are the few figures I have. I will send you this paper. Then I have analyzed with the help of some tools and techniques. We have made them graph to show how to equify these parameters with the year like 2010, 14, 18, and 20. Now, if I'm talking about the security concern and the regional stability, so we found that security is the primary concern in the Central Asia due to the terrorism, border conflicts, the political instability. Russia's collectively security treasury organization plays the key role, while China focuses on the counterterrorism throughout the some corporations, organizations. Likewise, the US also they engaged in the security partnership to maintain the stability and economic growth as well. The major concern about the role soft power and cultural influences. So apart from the economic and military influences, global powers uh, use soft power strategies to shape Central Asia. China fosters cultural ties through the Confucius institutions, while the Russia maintains the presence via the media and language promotion. The US invests in this education and democratic initiatives to strengthen the relationship and the local governments and populations as well. When we would see the environmental challenges and sustainability development, we have seen the resources exploitations in the Central Asia has led to serve environmental issues, including water shortages, and the land degradation. Sustainability politics and the regional corporations are needed to balance the economic growth and environmental conservations. This paper highlighting the importance of adopting the eco-friendly strategies to ensure the long-term stability and prosperity as well. The good thing is the future of this new great game. We have seen that Central Asia is transpositioning from being positive geopolitical players to an active participant. Nations in the region are increasingly asserting their independence by balancing relationships with major powers while forecasting regions cooperation as well. Initiatives like the SEOs and the various trade agreement indicates a shift towards the self-reliance. So, if we will talking about the conclusion for the same, the new great game in the Central Asia is phased geopolitical contest shaped by historical, economic and security factor, while global power competed the uh, dominance. Central Asia nations are becoming the more proactive in shaping the destinies. A balanced approach that considers both external strategies, interest, and regional aspirations in crucial and sustainable development in the long term. So these are the few references I have taken. The books which has been already published in 2019, 2012, and 10, and from these books and literatures we have got many more things about this topic, and I have written this paper with the help of these references as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Mohammed Shahid, many thanks for your paper. It's really productive and
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
it's triggering our vision to the region, which you have mentioned that the new great game was another point that you have contributed to this session.
Thank you, sir.
Particularly, the focus of the presentation was the economic value and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's
Yeah.
role. Many thanks for your contribution.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think you have one another papers.
Yeah, that is in third session, sir.
Yeah, after this one. Now we are to search for the PhD Asad Mohammed Han, Minhaj University, Lahore, Pakistan. Is he here? Mohammed Han? Mohammed Han? Mohammed Han is not here right now. Mohammed Shahid, Would you be kind enough to give us the second paper analyzing new great game and geographical dynamics in Central Asia?
Yes. This I have done actually. Professor Alam is not well. Might be he's having the family problem. So because of that reason, he is not able to attend this. Congress. He was might be on second number. Uh, so in third session there is another paper on which I'm going to present.
Are you able to give this paper?
Sir, I need some time because my next paper was in third session. That's why a little bit I have to do something more. Then I will present. Yeah.
Okay. Now we come to once again is Asad Mohammedan here? No, he is not. Kasım Mosoli.
Hello. Hello, Mr.
Hello. Kasım
How's it
Mosoli.
going?
Fine, thanks.
Okay, if the opportunity is given for me, I'm ready to deliver my speech, my presentation.
What's the topic of your presentation? Let me check.
Drivers and obstacles of regional integration in Central Asia.
Kasım Mosoli. Hold on a second. Efendim canım.
Okay. Can I start?
Hold a second. Efendim? Evet, bu değil. Kasım, Mr. Kasım Mosoli, your turn is going to be at the end of the session. So please hold a few minutes.
Olsun arkadaş, biz bekliyoruz.
That's great. Now, we absence are Asad Mohammedan. The fourth is absent. PhD Ömer Kocaman, is he here? No, he is not here. Can Demir from National Defense University, is he here? He's not. Doğu Sönmez, as far as I remember, he was here at the beginning of the session.
Yes, I'm here.
Many thanks for being here, Doğuş.
Hocam, I think Can Demir is here too. And he's texting a message, I think.
Ne diyor?
He will be ready in 10 minutes. He has technical problems.
Okay, we can handle with you, and when
Okay.
Can Demir came, he will take.
Of course.
So, Kasım Mosuli will not wait for a long time. Although he said olsun arkadaş. That was great.
May I see my presentation? May you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Can you follow it?
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Firstly, I would like to thank the organization committee and Arelusam for this great congress. It's so good to be here with you. Today I'm gonna present a paper regarding the comparative foreign policy analysis. And the title of my presentation is Turkey, Russia, and Iran, a comparative analysis of foreign policies in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. I'm research assistant at Kadir Has University, Department of Political Science and International Relations, and I am PhD candidate at the end of my PhD, I think, at Galatasaray University. I'm studying Russian foreign policy and comparative foreign policy analysis, and that is a part of my PhD thesis. Today, after mentioning my research question, arguments, methodology, I will mention about my theoretical framework. I use neoclassical realism to look at the issue wider. And I have a case, which is Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. I will briefly mention about it. And then I'm gonna mention accordingly about the levels of variables in the neoclassical realism, which are the independent variable, dependent variable, and intervening variable. So firstly, I will mention about the structure of the international system and the restrictions of it. And then I will mention the intervening variables for Turkey, Russia, and Iran separately. Then I will just show the table because of the time limit of the foreign policy outcomes of 3 states. And then I will show you the similarities and differences between the domestic motivations of the 3 countries. Then I will conclude my presentation. So my research question is that are the motivations of Turkey, Russia, and Iran similar in their foreign policies regarding the Second Karabakh War in 2020? And my argument is that Turkey, Russia, and Iran have similar motivations in their foreign policies. In the Second Karabakh War, I use 2 methods. Which one is single case study, which is Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, and the second one is the process tracing. I am testing a theory, maybe trying to contribute empirically to the theory. So I am not going into details on neoclassical realism, but the most important thing, I think, for the neoclassical realism is neoclassical realism melts the international system and the domestic structures in the same pot. What do I mean? Traditionally, we have 2 variables, dependent variable and independent variable. And according to neoclassical realism, we have another variable, which is intervening variable. So dependent variable is the foreign policy decisions, the outcomes of the issue. And independent variable operates in system level, and it is the restrictions of the international system on the states. And the third one is the intervening variable, which operates in unit and individual levels. And they may be regime type, public opinion and media, culture, identity, ideology, and etc. So regarding the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, we can say 5 turning points in that regard. In the first term depicts before 1988, and the second term is between 1988 and 1994. We see the first Nagorno-Karabakh in that period. And in 1994 to 2020, we see frozen conflict in that region. And in 2020, we see second Nagorno-Karabakh war. In September, Azerbaijan launches a full-scale offensive. In October, recaptures major towns. In November, Shusha falls and Russia brokers a ceasefire. Armenia agrees to withdraw from occupied territories, and Russian peacekeepers are deployed in Karabakh. And at the end of this war, Azerbaijan wins the war and regains most of its lost territories, and it shifts the balance of power in the region. And then we have another offensive in 2023, and it's Azerbaijan's final offensive and Armenian surrender. In September, Azerbaijan launches a military operation, and it causes Armenian forces in Karabakh to surrender. And as a result, the conflict ends with Azerbaijan's complete victory. So, my topic covers the foreign policies of Turkey, Russia, and Iran and their domestic motivations. But firstly, I have to mention about the systemic international systems restrictions on the actors to show you the domestic motivations. So I have, in that term, I have 5 restrictions. And first one is the multipolar competition and regional power struggles. So we are living in a multipolar world, in a multipolar international system. And in that international system, the polars, the states, compete with each other. And in Caucasus, we see a Russian dominance. And in that region, Turkey desired to expand its area of influence. And also Iran desired to contain Turkish influence and counter Western influence. And secondly, we are seeing that US and Western priorities are shifting, especially with the crises in Ukraine, Middle East, and also with rising China. That creates a power vacuum in Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, and Turkey and Russia as mediators are trying to fill that power vacuum. And also, we have Western sanctions on Russia, and this issue increases Moscow dependence on Azerbaijan. And thirdly, Turkey, we see Turkey as an independent regional power. Turkey follows more assertive and independent foreign policy, especially from the West. And we can see that in the military operations in Syria. And also we have Turkish drones. It demonstrates the growing defense industry and military soft power of Turkey. And fourthly, Russia is trying to balance both sides and is trying to maintain its influence in post-Soviet area. It is called by Russians near abroad, and near abroad is #1 foreign policy priority for Russia, and that's why Russia would like to maintain its influence on that region. And this issue is also an opportunity for Russia to keep both Armenia and Azerbaijan dependent on Moscow for security. We can see it from its military presence in 2020. And also, we have Ukraine war, and Ukraine war weakened the Russia's ability. And fifthly, energy politics and trade routes are so important for that region. And Azerbaijan is an energy-rich country, and also BTC pipeline and Southern Gas Corridor are reducing European dependence on Russian energy. Also, we have Zengezur Corridor. Zengezur Corridor contributes to trade between Iran and Turkey, Azerbaijan and Turkey, and it threatens Iran's regional trade dominance. And also, Russia seeks to maintain leverage over Azerbaijan's energy export. So, what about our intervening variables? I examine the intervening variables of 3 countries in 5 subsections: public opinion and media, culture, identity, ideology, threat perception, domestic political actors, and capacity and material power. So, regarding the public opinion and media, in Turkey, strong public support for Azerbaijan due to nationalist sentiments of the people. And also, we have state-controlled and pro-government media, which amplify nationalistic rhetoric. Regarding culture, identity, and ideology, Turkish identity drives support for Azerbaijan. We can see the discourse of one nation, 2 states. And also, we have Islamist elements, and it supports Azerbaijan as a fellow Muslim majority nation. And also, we have Ottoman legacy, of course, and it is important for controlling the Caucasus influences strategic ambitions. And regarding the threat perception, Turkey is free from Russian dominance in the Caucasus, and also it has concerns over Western and NATO constraints on Turkish power. Regarding domestic political actors, nationalist movement party MHP strongly supports Azerbaijan, and it pressures the government. And fifthly, regarding the capacity and material power, Turkey has strong military industrial growth. Bayraktar drones are a proof of it. And it's boosted Azerbaijan's success. And also Turkey has energy-independent economy, but it is an opportunity for its strategic access to pipelines. That's why Turkey can diversify its energy resources and can be an energy transit hub. And second, we have Russia. And Regarding public opinion media, Russian nationalists and Orthodox Christian groups lean pro-Armenia, but the government prioritizes strategic balance between Armenia and Azerbaijan. It has different reasons, but it's not our topic, so I'm not going to mention about this. And war in Ukraine shifted focus away from the Caucasus, and it reduces public concern. Regarding culture, identity, and ideology, we have post-Soviet identity and, of course, Eurasianism, and it shapes and they shape policies of Russia. And also, Russia follows pragmatic realpolitik-based foreign policies rather than ethnic religious ties. And regarding threat perception, Russia fears from the Western-backed movements, maybe color revolutions in Armenia and Azerbaijan, and also it worries about losing strategic leverage over Armenia and Azerbaijan. And regarding domestic political actors, oligarchs and military elites benefit from arms sales to both Armenia and Azerbaijan. Regarding capacity and material power, Russia has high military and diplomatic capacity, but Ukraine more weakened resources. And also, Russia has economic struggles due to Western sanctions, and it limits its influence. And regarding Iran, state-controlled media in Iran criticize Turkey's role while balancing ties with both sides. Regarding culture, identity, and ideology, Iranian versus Turkic rivalry influences geopolitical decisions. And also, of course, Shia identity contradicts Azerbaijan's secularism and Turkish alignment, and revolutionary ideology opposes Israeli influence in Azerbaijan. Regarding threat perception, Iran fears from Azeri nationalism. It thinks that it fuels the separatism in Iran and Azerbaijan, and also it has concerns over Turkey's pan-Turkic ambitions, undermining Iran's regional influence. And also it alarms over Azerbaijan-Israel military cooperation. Regarding domestic political actors, Azerbaijan minority in Iran pressures government for a more pro-Baku stance. And regarding capacity and material power, it has economic struggles due to the Western sanctions and limits Iran's ability to project power. That's why it has strong intelligence and regional networks, and they allow it to indirectly influence the area. So you can see the foreign policies, the outcomes, or dependent variables of 3 states in that table, and I'm not going into details. So regarding the discussion and conclusion part, we can say that we have much more similarities than differences regarding the foreign policies of Turkey, Russia, and Iran's domestic motivations. What are those similarities? Firstly, leaders Erdogan, Putin, and Khamenei use foreign policy to consolidate domestic power. Secondly, state-controlled media in all 3 countries shape public narratives to support foreign policy goals. Thirdly, ethnic and religious identities influence foreign policy. Fourthly, 3 of them, they all fear from losing regional influence. And fifthly, military and security elites shape foreign policy. And then all 3 states leverage military and economic resources to achieve foreign policy goals. And both of 3 of them uses nationalism as a foreign policy tool. And what about the differences? Of course, there are different countries. They have different priorities. They have different national interests. They have different capacities, but they have different ethnic and religious identities, and they have different threat perceptions. Even in some cases, they see each other as a threat. But regarding this slide, we can say that we have much more similarities than differences for our topic. Regarding Ali Hocam, your question, I think Turkey would be an important player for a Central Asian chessboard because of historical identity-based ties with the region. However, the region is backyard, or more academic terms, near abroad of Russia, and has #1 priority for Russian foreign policy due to historical ties and geopolitical reasons. And I think as long as Russia maintains its influence in the region, Turkish foreign policy has narrow room for maneuver its foreign policy. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Hoş, many thanks for your paper, which gave us a good understanding how the frame and the hub of all those conflicting and mostly overlapping national security priorities of this region. I have a question, if I may.
Of course.
Can we say that, regarding the recent developments, can we say that the first time in history, Turkey's and Russia's national interests match with each other, overlap with each other? Can we say that?
I'm not sure because national interest is not a stable concept like in the past. It changes quickly, and it depends on the capacities of Turkey and Russia. And Russia is in a bad situation in the Ukraine war, and it definitely influences its relations with Turkey. We are mentioning about last 2 years the asymmetric interdependency between Russia and Turkey, especially in economic terms, in energy-based terms. And we are saying that this asymmetric interdependency is decreasing, and Turkey is decreasing its asymmetric interdependency towards Russia because of the leverages and because of the rooms of maneuver for its foreign policy. And I cannot say that their interests are matching, but I can say that I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I can say that Russia's capacity is decreasing and Turkey's capacity is increasing. It's a zero-sum game between Russia and Turkey, and it would positively influence the Turkey's foreign policy. I can say some words.
Of course, as you have noted, that today's world, national interests are not the concepts as it were in the past, the frozen concepts. Right now, the national interests match with each other case by case.
Yes, definitely. So, compartmentalization, definitely.
In this regard, the Nagorno-Karabakh issue, in the Nagorno-Karabakh issue, Russia's priority to balance the situation also made it parallel to Turkey's expectations and Azerbaijan's goal. Many thanks for your contribution.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now we have.
Dear Professor, I have one suggestion. It would be better. It would be better initially our participant deliver their presentation. At the end of the first round, the question have been raised, because all participants are going to, are going to engage with those discussions, and by doing that, definitely we could have more times for sharing our points of the view and perspectives. First round, we just, give our presentation, and second round, all participants, start to discuss about the different topics.
Dr. Kasım, you were not here when I made my introductory remarks.
I was here. I'm here. I have been here from the beginning of this meeting.
As I have pointed out, we will have a discussion session at the end. But what I'm trying to do here is to open up some windows for the discussion session. Okay.
Okay.
So this is I exploit my priority to trigger to open discussion. Okay. Now we are glad that we have Mahmut Han here, Asad Mahmutan.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Asad Mahmutan. Yes. Okay. Now it's your turn, Asad Mahmutan. Asad Mahmutan is here with us. With a short delay. His paper is the security alliances in the regional integration, analyzing the strategic opportunities and underlying risks.
Thank you so much, sir, Ali. I'm first of all, I'm very glad to be part of this conference once again, and it was very fruitful session, the last session we had the last year, and it was an excellent opportunity to get insight from the different scholars and obviously the experts. And again, I'm here just to share my subject, and I would be happy to get insight for the improvement and the betterment. Thank you so much, sir. I'll just share.
Asad Mahmutan, I couldn't hear you properly. Are you able to give your presentation, your paper?
Hello, sir. Am I audible? Hello.
I didn't understand your answer. Are you going to give your paper? Are you going to present your paper right now?
Yes, I am going to. I'm just
Okay.
sharing this. I'm
Okay.
just sharing the slides.
Please, I would ask from you to speak slowly and be a little bit apart from the microphone because I cannot hear properly. Okay?
Sure, sir.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is it visible?
Yes, it's your turn.
Sir,
We can see
sir, thank you so much for the opportunity. And today I have the topic that security alliances and regional integration in Asia and analyzing the strategic opportunities and underlying risks. With regards to the abstract is concerned, this paper is going to examine the role of security alliances in regional integration, mainly focusing on its strategic opportunities and underlying risks by utilizing a multi-theoretical approach that I have incorporated in like realism, liberalism, and the constructivism. This study would provide a comprehensive analysis of how these alliances impact the integration process, and moreover, it will also forecast the future scenarios for regional integration by exploring both optimistic and pessimistic outcomes. Uh, this is what the layout of my whole paper is, but here I would just give the gist of the headings, and I'll just cover the brief, keeping in view the time in my focus, and I'll be focusing a bit on introduction, the theoretical framework and the research methodology, and the important discussion areas and their findings. Mainly, it would be concerning with the security alliances and regional integration in Asia, and secondly, the strategic opportunities for the regional integration. While we will also foster future scenarios for regional integration in the Asia, and of course, at the end, few recommendations and conclusion. It is to begin with the understanding that the focus of this research will remain on the core topic of the study as the role of the security alliances play in the regional integration within the Asian context. While with Asia's growing interconnectedness, the influence of these alliances on political, economic, and the military cooperation has increased, and it has become increasingly significant for the region and for the world as well. While the security alliances are as we are well aware of, that they are the pivotal agreements between the nations that help ensuring the mutual defense as well as the cooperation in various domains or the sectors. They have also substantial impact on how regions and the states they integrate with each other and the foster to collaborate or the potential to introduce the challenges or the mutual way out for the for their interests. While we have key theme analyzing the strategic opportunities and the underlying risk associated with the Asian region, mainly this research will focus on two major aspects that are already highlighted in the layout part. The one, the strategic opportunities, and secondly, we will have a future scenario building for the region. Moreover, in this study, I aim to evaluate how these alliances influence regional integration and the way out for the benefit of against the potential challenges being faced by the region or the states. This is the statement of the problem. What we see, the security alliances in Asia offer the both. It is the opportunity driven as well, and the risk is there also. However, a comprehensive analysis of their impact is important for the future scenario building or the future options for the region, independently for the states as well, and for as a whole for the region as well. These were few questions that we had in mind while conducting or evaluating this, concluding this research. That what role do the security alliances play in the regional integration process in Asia? What the strategic opportunities and the security alliances provide for the participating states here in the region, and what are the key risks, challenges posed by the security alliances in the regional cooperation, while how do state interest, cooperation, and shared values influence the dynamics of the security alliances as a whole. With regards to theoretical framework and the research methodology, I have used the multi-theoretical approach, keeping realism as a competitive nature of alliances driven in the state interest, and focusing liberalism as it highlights the potential for the cooperation and the mutual benefits, and of course the constructivism that makes the identity norms and the shared values be future driven. While research methodology, I have used the game theory, which has been applied here with its few models of prisoner's dilemma, stake hunt, and the zero-sum game. It has also been incorporated while in the discussion part. Coming on to the important discussion areas and the findings, as already highlighted, I'll be focusing two major aspects. One is the security alliances and the regional integration in the Asia. If I'll just focus in the slide that on one side I have just mentioned the points, the key aspects, and while how it will impact is on the second column. So if we focus on the aspects, we see that it will the security alliances and the regional integration in Asia, it will be shaping the political and economic landscape, of course, and that will impact the security alliances, influencing the regional power dynamics and the economic cooperation of the region. And while the facilitating regional cooperation, it will have the impact aligning the strategic interest among the nations that would fosters the diplomatic and economic ties. Diplomatic relations may lead from the collaborations and the economic ties that will be making the way out for the regional power dynamics in the region. Other the promoting stability and the tension, it would if we this is another main aspect of the security alliances in the region, and that would definitely it has an impact on the enhanced security of the state in particular and the region as a whole, and they can also be alliances driven or the geopolitical rivalry groupings in the region. While we focus on influencing the diplomacy, trade, and the defense relations, the states their interest towards the economic build up and the regional cooperation. It has directly influence and impact on the foreign policies that they are driven, and military strategic alliances, their cooperations, and of course the economic agreements and the deals that play a pivotal role between the alliances and the overall integration process within these states and the region. The effectiveness of the is this security alliances and the regional integration is mainly based on the mutual cooperation, mutual trust, and the common goals or the common interest of the states that would ultimately lead to the regional alliances and regional makeout of the states, and that impacts directly to the to the shared objectives between the two states or the more states, and of course the region as a whole. It will impact the strategic and economic collaborations as well. Well, the second major portion of this paper was the strategic opportunities and the regional integration. Again, we have focused key aspects, but we have discussed in the paper, and with their conclusion or the finding that it has overall with regards to the state or with regards to the region. Mainly we have on the key aspects, we have the regional stability, because the regional stability is the hallmark for collaboration and the cooperation, even in terms of the military alliances or in terms of the economic alliances. So the security alliances that if it is regional, the stability prevails, it reduces the risk of conflict, and it promotes the peace and prosperity within the state as well and within the region as well. While economic growth and the trade expansion or the trade collaborations with across the borders or across the states, it strengthens these economic ties and increase market access across the region globally, and it enhances the regional supply chains within the region and across the region as well. We have a collective defense and a collective security. If we have a collective security mechanism or security collaboration, that would help in maintaining the regional stability and the peace and prosperity in the region, and ultimately that leads to the expansion of the trade or economic growth of the region as well. And it is only fostered or it is driven through the shared informations, shared ventures, shared collaborations, maybe in terms of political culture or the military areas, and maybe it is in terms of having the mutual discussion forums to collaborate on this defense and security cooperation aspects. Another thing that is the infrastructure and the development projects that would be driven through this stable environment and the economic conditions that prevail across the region, and this would impact the cross-border investments, because once the relations they grow, the trade and the military relations, they also grow reciprocal each other, and this connectivity initiatives definitely improves the state relations, their collaborations, cooperation, and ultimately to the region as well. Another thing that the stronger multilateral engagement is mainly focusing on the mutually settled goals that would impact the diplomatic collaboration with the states and the regional policies to coordinate and the global strategic partnership across the region as well. Overall, from the discussion, we could build few scenarios that could be potentially it has the optimistic and pessimistic as well. I have just mentioned here the scenarios just with their possibilities of the country's collaborations, the regional organizations that can influence that scenario and the potential effect that it can generate. Mainly, we have 8 scenarios and the most likely scenarios, if we consider the optimistic scenario, if we go for the optimistic scenarios that may involve the China, India, Japan, the South Korea, and the ASEAN states, and obviously the regional organizations, the SCOs, and RCEPs, they would greatly have the potential to make regional stability, increase the economic growth, and may lead to the stronger ties and collaborations among the states. And this is obviously we started with the optimistic reason to enhance the cooperation. While if we see the other option, it could be the competitive alliances. It could be one or more, and it could be the two groups as well, or many reasons for the power rivalry in the region as well. Potentially, we have China, India, Japan, Pakistan, Russia, and US allies that US is indirectly having the impact on every relation or collaboration in the region, and it is obvious from the behaviors of the states towards the other states or towards the region as well. The mainly the regional organization they play a pivotal role while establishing the competitive rivalries as well, and what it has the impact, it is basically increasing the arm race. Definitely, if we get an example of Pakistan, India, we see the their growth towards the arm race. It is much more than the race between the economic or the peaceful settlement relations. So it increases the race among the states. It increases between makes the flashpoints like Taiwan and South China Sea toward within the region, and towards Pakistan and India, the Kashmir, that becomes a flashpoint that can be exploited anytime to jeopardize or compromise the overall stability and cooperation of the region. The third scenario we can see the fragmented scenario, meaning by that there is cooperation as well, there is a rivalry as well, and they have some states they may have the interest on the either side. So it becomes a geopolitical division within the region, and like China and India, US allies having potential against China or against any other rivalry in the region. Pakistan and India, another major example of the region, and it has the again the regional organization. They play the role, and the weakening of the Asian states. We see the SARC disputes. We see it's an obvious, and they are not that leading towards the solutions, but they are gaining the time to affect the overall scenario or overall the culture of the states and the region. It increases the political instability, economic drawdown is there, and the proxy conflicts like allies of the US allies are the Indians in Afghanistan. This plays the proxy conflicts, and the proxy conflict building is very obvious in this scenario. While fourth, we have the economic driven scenario where the trade or the economic collaborations are in the lead. Mainly in the region, we see the China, Japan, India, South Korea, and the GCC states. They are in the lead, and they directly affect the economic growth. They reduce the military tensions because we have the common interest of economic collaboration. But it is overall it will in the long term makes imbalance in the power because one state like we see in the region, the China, it is the leading, and the one the other is going very far away. So this in long term, this becomes an imbalance of the region. While we have the another scenario of optimistic scenario that enhances the cooperation uh, in China, Russia, India, and Pakistan, and the other states. It again it strengthens the defense alliances, but it risks the militarization of the region. I just move to the next scenario, that is the Indo-Pacific Strategic Compact, and the potential members of this scenario. We see the Japan, the India, the Australia, the South Korea, and the France as observer. And why we see it as a potential strategic scenario, because it senses the overall national security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region, and the China assertiveness towards regional stability and fostering the defense cooperation. It is very obvious in this scenario. It has overall the indicators we see that there is an increased military cooperation among Quad members and the ASEAN states, while Japan and South Korea, they are going in defense expanding, and the rising of the tension in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, even we see here. And the challenge we see the risk of escalation with the China, divergent nation interest among the members, and the resistance from the ASEAN neutrality stance. And why it happens? Because of the overall geopolitical shift is being observed in the region, while the region security needs to be more focused towards the collaboration, and the strategic autonomy needs to be fostered, and the economic strategic balance that would help the overall regional stability and the security of the region. Towards the end, I have just a few recommendations. If we see, I have just written the bullets for the recommendation and the impacts that it would have on the overall paradigm. The first in the list is the strengthening multilateral security cooperation that will enhance the regional stability, reduces the security dilemmas, and the fosters the trust among the nations. While we promote economic integration through trade agreements and collaborations, it boosts economic growth, creates interdependence, and reduces the likelihood of the conflict or the flashpoints in the between the states. The third one is a developed conflict resolution mechanism within the Asian alliances. It will prevent escalation, it will ensure the diplomatic solutions, and maintains the long-term regional cooperation across the region. Just at the end, to conclude, the security alliances play a crucial role in shaping regional integration in the Asia, offering the both strategic opportunities and the potential risks, while they promote stability, economic cooperation, and collective security that can also exacerbate like geopolitical tension and career dependency. Thus, a balanced approach that fosters trust, economic independency, and the diplomatic engagement is essential for the sustainable regional integration in the Asia. Thank you so much, sir. I'll just conclude.
Asad Mahmoud, and many thanks for your presentation. for your comprehensive and seamless presentation, which gives us all the aspects on the cooperative and competing factors of the alliances, regional alliances. I believe that your paper is going to add some more to Barry Buzan's book, Regions and Powers. So a new regionalism understanding is emerging, as far as I understand. If I may, I would ask from you to send your presentation to us, and also it depends on you, but I believe it would be quite good if you include the table on the slide number 10. All the tables were perfect, which helps to understand the concept. But my favorite was slide number 10. If you could include this in the full paper book of your paper, this would be great. This is my suggestion, if I may. Many thanks.
Thank you, sir. I'll definitely, I'll add to that. And thank you for appreciation. And I'll definitely look into it, and I'll incorporate the slide and the table in the 10 slides, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You can stop sharing your screen. Right now, the Muhammed Shahid, Kasser Alam, and Yazdani Hassan, a cooperative paper analyzing new great game and the geopolitical dynamics of Central Asia. Muhammed Shahid, Kasar Alam, Yazdani Hassan. Let me check whether one of them is here. I think they are not available. Ömer Kocaman, Mr. Ömer Kocaman is not available. Did Can Demir?
Yes, sir, I'm standing by.
Okay. Mr. Can
Just
Demir,
second.
welcome on board. We can take your presentation.
Okay. Do you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay, just a second. So, good day, everyone. This is Can Demir. I want to start with my humble appreciations to the organization committee for bringing together all these people from across the globe and granting me the opportunity to present my work in front of such a distinguished audience. This is a little bit about myself. I'm a PhD student in Turkish National Defense University. I conducted free research in the field of Turkic studies, and I published a paper titled "The Organization of Turkic States: Implications for the Regional Balance of Power." So this is what makes me qualified to present my work to you here. The emergence of the independent Turkic states in Central Asia and the Caucasus following the dissolution of the Soviet Union paved the way for solidarity and increased cooperation among the Turkish states, including Turkey. This cooperation among the states developed over time through a set of bilateral and multilateral initiatives, mechanisms, and organizations. The Turkic Council emerged as the most deep-seated platform of cooperation, and the Organization of Turkic States finally succeeded on the 30th anniversary of the independence of the Turkic states. Along with the previous versions, the Organization of Turkic States has held a series of summits on the way to the greater integration in the Turkic world. At the 8th summit, the Organization of Turkic States was declared, and it laid down a shared vision for the next 2 decades, covering resolutions in several domains that will help achieve the organization's potential to be an international actor to be reckoned with in regional politics. And lastly, the 11th summit, which was held last year in November, became the last in a series of summits. As you are all familiar, the Organization of Turkic States has these 5 known member states and 3 observer states. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was also granted an observer status, which earned the country more international visibility. In addition, the Economic Cooperation Organization was also granted an observer status. At the current juncture, from Europe stretching all the way eastward to the Indo-Pacific region and retaining great economic and geopolitical potentials, the Organization of Turkic States has turned out to be an actor to be reckoned with on the global scale. However, the organization and the integration efforts in the Turkic world face substantial challenges in the global and regional politics, and I will highlight these challenges under different themes now. Russian influence over the region is a great concern. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Central Asian and Caucasian Turkic states, especially Kazakhstan, remained vulnerable to Russian influence due to significant Russian populations in these regions. Kazakhstan, with a quarter of its population being ethnically Russian, faces considerable pressure. While smaller Russian communities exist in other Turkic countries, they also experience some level of Russian influence. The shared Soviet legacy strengthens political, military, and economic ties, with Russia having Russian language having official status in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. And many people in these countries still view Russia positively as a superpower. Uzbekistan's adoption of the Latin alphabet is a symbolic move to distance itself from Russia and strengthen connections with the other Turkic nations. This reflects a broader cultural and political shift towards asserting national identity and greater integration with the global and the Turkic-speaking world. Despite moving away from Russia in diplomacy, culture, and economics, the Turkic states remain economically reliant on Russia, especially through labor migration and remittances. Since 2014, trade relations have been strained due to Russia's actions in Ukraine and Western sanctions. While Russia and China are key partners, trade relations with Turkey are underdeveloped. These states also maintain strong security ties with Russia, including military cooperation and arms deals, with Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan hosting Russian military bases. China's growing influence in Central Asian Turkic states is also seen as a source of internal vulnerability. The region is engaged in various Chinese economic initiatives, such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which includes Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan. China has also established the China Plus Central 5 initiative to engage with these countries. China plays a significant role in arms transfers to the region. However, Chinese policymakers view the Organization of Turkic States as a threat, fearing that it could fuel pan-Turkism and pan-Islamism, especially with Turkey's involvement. They worry that the Organization of Turkic States may destabilize the multi-ethnic Turkic states, increasing ethnic tensions. The Uyghur issue has exacerbated tensions between China and Turkey. Turkey has condemned China's treatment of Uyghurs, urging respect for their rights, which angered China. In response, China criticized Turkey's fight against ethnic terrorism. This diplomatic rift was heightened after the inauguration of the Organization of Turkic States, further flaming Turkic sentiments. As a countermeasure, right after the inauguration of the Organization of Turkic States, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosted a summit with Central Asian leaders to strengthen ties under the Belt and Road Initiative. While China maintains good relations with these states, public opinion in the region is largely distrustful of China's intentions. Iran's skepticism about the integration efforts in the Turkic world is also a concern. Iran is wary of the growing influence of the Organization of Turkic States and Turkey's expanding role in the Caucasus and Central Asia. The country's northwestern provinces have a large Azerbaijani population, which is almost 3 times the number of people in Azerbaijan itself. Iran fears that rising Turkic sentiments could spark secessionist movements among the Turkic communities within its borders. In this regard, Iran's cautious approach towards the economic and political initiatives of the Turkic states in the region is highly likely to persist in the future. Although the Organization of Turkic States is not a defense and security alliance, the fact that its member states align with different defense blocs creates an institutional weakness when viewed holistically. Turkey and Hungary are part of NATO, which considers Russia a major threat to the international order. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are members of the Russian-led Collective Security Treaty Organization. Uzbekistan, which left the Collective Security Treaty Organization in 2012, still maintains security ties with Russia. And additionally, the Turkic states participated in NATO's Partnership for Peace program in 1994, largely due to US influence within NATO. The policies of global superpowers in Central Asia and the Caucasus, along with the negative effects of their rivalry, present long-term threats to the Organization of Turkic States. While Central Asia and the Caucasus have not been a primary foreign policy focus for the USA, this is unlikely to change in the near future, but it is likely to earn new dimensions in the near future. After its failure in Afghanistan, the US is increasingly focused on countering China economically in Asia, promoting alternative infrastructure to challenge China's Belt and Road Initiative in collaboration with the European Union. The USA sees Turkey's ongoing engagement with Central Asian Turkic states as beneficial, as Turkey supports their integration into the global economy and helps them resist Chinese and Russian influence. The European Union also aims to play a significant political and economic role in Central Asia through diplomatic initiatives and investment projects. The European Union has signed partnership and cooperation agreements with Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and is still negotiating with Uzbekistan and has an interim trade agreement with Turkmenistan, highlighting its growing influence in the region. And border disputes, coming to border disputes in the region, border disputes among Central Asian states represent a key weakness for the Organization of Turkic States. After the Soviet Union collapsed, the region was left with unclear borders. Although there were no major issues in the first decade following independence, the unrest in the late 1990s prompted the countries to begin negotiations to clarify and demarcate their borders. These discussions have been inconsistent over the next 2 decades, leading to several border clashes, particularly between Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan and between Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Many of these conflicts were centered around enclaves near these borders. And the Fergana Valley, which spans Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, is particularly problematic as it contains territories where borders among the 3 countries intersect. Each country has enclaves within the other's territories. In Kyrgyzstan, there are 4 Uzbek enclaves and 2 Tajik enclaves, while a Kyrgyz village and Tajik enclaves still exist within the territories of Uzbekistan. These complex border disputes, including tensions with Tajikistan, are a major source of instability, and they present vulnerabilities that could be exploited by adversaries, undermining the cohesion and stability of the Organization of Turkic States and its member states. And another theme is the misperception of Turanism, the integration efforts in the Turkic world, and the declaration of the Organization of Turkic States are perceived and declared by some antagonist states as a Turkic and expansionist policy. However, the integration efforts of Turkey and other Turkic states have no connection, either directly or indirectly, to Turanism or expansionism. Unlike how it may be perceived, Turkey does not follow an imperialist Turan policy towards Central Asia. Turkey pursues its relations with the Turkic states under its Turkism policy, which is equivalent to the Eurasianism policy with no ethnic-centric agenda. However, the misclaims of Turanism is a hurdle for the Organization of Turkic States. The Organization of Turkic States keeps several projects on the agenda, including the full opening of the Zengezur corridor to fully ensure geographical connectivity with the aim of increasing energy mobility and commercial potential in a region. However, for various reasons, these initiatives are delayed and the region's economic and trade potential is hindered. I wanted to present this situation as another challenge faced by the Organization of Turkic States. So the Organization of Turkic States has many strengths and opportunities as well. However, I have focused on and verbalized the challenges against the Organization of Turkic States so far in my presentation. The Organization of Turkic States has achieved great cooperation and initiatives in terms of integration in the Turkic world. And that said, these challenges need to be addressed more and more in the next term in the declarations and strategy documents of the alliance, and the Turkic states need to produce more concrete steps to face these challenges in the coming term. And that concludes my part. Thanks for listening and planning your questions.
Many thanks for the paper, which gave us a pessimistic view that the Turkish organization has
So
two way to go with, but it's quite realistic, and it was eliminating what challenges that this organization will face. So
So just like I pointed out at the very end, so there's no reason to be pessimistic. So the Organization of Turkic States has many strengths and opportunities as well. But
yes,
I had to confine my presentation to the challenges. That's why I listed the challenges without mentioning the strengths and opportunities. It's better to be optimistic rather than pessimistic.
actually, in an academic paper, for an academic research, you are to point out the realities, and optimistic or pessimistic is not a conclusion for this paper, but this paper gave us a good understanding what kind of challenges they have, and but still it's a good step for not only for the Turkish states but also for the rest of the world. I believe, as you have mentioned, it has opportunities as it has some risks.
Correct.
The question and answer period will be at the end. At this moment, there's nothing I could add to or make comment on your paper. Many thanks.
Okay, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much once again. Görkem Atasungur is here. Is Görkem Atasungur here? Okay. Now we can turn to, as far as I understand, the fourth and the fifth speakers, Ömer Kocaman, the fifth speaker, the fourth speaker, Muhammed Shahid, Kasar Alam, Yazdani Hassan, they are not available. Now we can turn to Kasam Osuli Odlu. Sir, are you here?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
You spend, we force you to wait for a long time to the end, but we have to follow the program.
No problem. It's really invaluable and learnable moment, and that's why it's not considered, wasting time. Okay, thank you so much for giving this great opportunity. Initially, I would like to say my sincere thanks to organizer of this critical and important meeting. The topics that I'm going to talk about is the drivers and obstacles of regional integration in Central Asia. Since 2016, a sequence of developments have facilitated regional integration in Central Asia, paving the way for a stronger economic ties among the republics. These events can be conceptualized as a key driving factors. Followingly, I am going to mention those, driving forces. The first one is a power shift that happened in 2016 in Uzbekistan. As a matter of fact, one of the most significant factor was the leadership change in Uzbekistan in 2016 when Shavkat Mirziyoyev assumed the presidency of following the death of Islam Karimov. Consequently, Uzbekistan foreign policy shifted from inactive, isolationist, and opportunistic approach to more proactive and peaceful stance towards its neighbors. This transformation laid the foundation for the region's growing cooperation. Since taking office, Shavkat Mirziyoyev has prioritized peaceful relations with neighboring countries and has actively promoted diplomatic solutions to resolve the regional tensions and conflicts. That's why these political changes that happened during 2016 and political structure of Uzbekistan should be considered one of critical point and as a driving force of for intensifying the process of regional integration. Second driving force, to my way of thinking, comes to the events that happens regarding the Caspian Sea Agreement. Another major milestone was the signing of conventional legal status of Caspian Sea by the littoral states. This agreement helped resolve long-standing disputes among the countries such as Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Russia, and Republic of Azerbaijan. By settling this conflict diplomatically, a significant step was taken towards fostering regional cooperation and economic ties. And third factors is comes to withdrawal of the United States military forces from Afghanistan. Indeed, the withdrawal of U.S. military forces from Afghanistan and the subsequent deterioration of security in this country have compelled to enhance their cooperation on counterterrorism and border security. The rise in security threat, including drug trafficking, organized crime, terrorist activities, has heightened concern among regional leaders. Given the strong security interdependence between Afghanistan and Central Asia, instability in Afghanistan directly impacts the region. As a result, the Central Asian government have been working collectively to address these challenges through joint security measures and regional collaboration. I want to say that there is a correlation between increasing instability inside of Afghanistan and a possible cooperation of Central Asian republics on security-based areas. The more instability increases in Afghanistan, the potential of cooperation between Central Asian republics in security-based area are increasing. And other factors comes to, Eurasian Economic Union. I want to say that another important factor influencing regional integration is the involvement of Central Asian states in Eurasian Economic Union. 2 out of 5 Central Asian republics, meaning Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, are members of this economic bloc. The adoption of coordinated trade policy not only has strengths bilateral economic cooperation between those 2 countries, but has also positively impacted their trade relation with the rest of regional republics. By aligning their economic policy within Eurasian Economic Union framework, this country, my intention, Kazakhstan and also Kyrgyzstan, have contributed to greater economic coordination across Central Asian region. Other factors to my way of thinking comes to impact of Russian-Ukraine war. As a matter of fact, the ongoing Russian-Ukraine war has significantly accelerated regional cooperation among the Central Asian countries. Given that many Central Asian republics have historically been economically and geopolitically dependent on Russian Federation, they now seek to diversify their political and economic partnership in order to reduce their reliance on Russian Federation. This shift has led to increased engagement with other extra-regional countries such as Turkey, China, the Persian Gulf states, India, and Pakistan, which have provided new strategic opportunities for those regional countries. Consequently, the region is witnessing a more independently regional political dynamic. Furthermore, being trapped in a strategic dilemmas make Central Asian countries concentrate more on regional cooperation than before. Practically, in this spectacular period of time, if they cooperate with, can you hear me? If they cooperate with Western countries in this spectacular period of time, they might face with aggressive and offensive reaction of Russian Federation. On the other hand, if they focus on Russia and struggle for deepening their cooperation with Russian Federation in a variety of dimension, they might face with the secondary sanction of the United States. Inevitably, they have focused on regional cooperation more than before. That's why the destiny of the Ukraine war explicitly, implicitly will affect the regional cooperation. And in the second part, I'm going to illustrate the possible obstacle to regional integration. Despite these positive developments, which should be taken into account as a driving force factors, there are 2 major challenges hinder deeper regional cooperation between the Central Asian republics. The first one comes to economic structures and the trade patterns of those republics. Indeed, one of the main barriers to integration lies in the economic structure of Central Asian republics. These economies' primary function as a producer and exporter of raw materials and natural resources, making them more competitive rather than complementary in their trade relation. While intra-regional trade has grown significantly, rising by 70% from 2018 to 2022, and reaching the volume of trade between the Central Asian countries from $5 billion to $10 billion, this volume of trade is still accounting for less than 5% of total trade volume of these countries with the world. This indicates that Central Asian economic depend more on trade with extra-regional countries than with regional neighbors, and limiting the potential for deeper economic cooperation among the Central Asian republics. And also, second challenges to my way of thinking comes to great power rivalry in the region that mentioned for several times in the presentation of our participants. Central Asia has historically been geopolitical battleground for major power, dating back to great game between the Britain and Russian Empire in 19th century. Today, a similar scenario is unfolding with growing competition between Western countries on one side and China, Russia, and other extra-regional power on the other side. Each of these global powers seeks to impose, its preferred regional order and influence the regional political direction. For instance, China promoted its One Belt Route initiatives. Russia advocates for expanding the Eurasian Economic Union. Western powers support the Euro-Atlantic mechanism and democratic governance models. Although some overlapping interests exist among this power, the main problem is that the regional political dynamics are still largely shaped by external player rather than the Central Asian themselves. I want to say that the regional power dynamics that are happening inside of this region are mostly has been impressed by the growing involvement of extra-regional countries than regional countries. It should be taken one of main obstacles, despite to some exert authority that Central Asian republics have gotten since 2022, but nevertheless, the regional power dynamics, have been determined by involvement of extra-regional countries. And regarding the future outlook, I would like to say that the future of regional cooperation in Central Asia will largely depend on global geopolitical shift. A potential reconciliation between Russia and the United States over Ukraine can reinforce Russian regional position and mitigate the possible regional integration. And conversely, an escalation of the conflict may further regional ties and foster economic cooperation between regional countries. Thank you so much for your attention.
Dr. Kasım Mosali, many thanks for your contribution. What impressed me that you pointed out that the indispensable fact that the regional integration cannot be aparted from the global players, global powers influence. In the question and answer session, if I may, I would like to.
Okay.
I would like to ask to you to give us a broader visual on how Iran's contribution to the integration rapprochements in Central Asia and Iran's role as from the perspective of Nehru's geography.
Okay, thank you. Two questions have been raised. First one comes to the inevitable role of extra-regional countries in shaping regional integration in the Central Asia. These hypotheses have already been proved. For example, since 1991 until now, the Russian Federation, by using a variety of Russian center regional organizations like Collective Security Treaty Organization, Eurasian Economic Union, and Commonwealth Independent State Organization, has been trying to maintain its hegemonic position in this region. And new organization that has been created by support of Turkey, like Organization for Turkic State, is trying to play the similar role. And China also following to conduct its favorite, initiatives in this region, like One Belt Route initiatives. But since 2016, as I said in my presentation, sequence of events have facilitated has provided some opportunity and advantages for Central Asian republics in order to advance their regional cooperation more than before. Because before 2060, because of aggressive and negative policy that adopted during the Islam Karimov, the opportunity haven't been provided for Central Asia to cooperate with each other. But now, to some extent, some positive steps have been taken towards regional cooperation. That's why we witness holding annually regional meeting by cooperation of Central Asian republics. And regarding Islamic Republic of Iran, you know that Iran since 2018 has facilitated its cooperation with the Eurasian Economic Union. In 2019, professional trade agreement concluded between Iran and Eurasian Economic Union, and then in 2023, free trade agreement concluded between Iran, that economic bloc. And this fact had been turning point and many critical driving force in expanding economic cooperation of Iran with those countries. That's why Iran presence this reason shouldn't be constricted just on security-based area. Definitely in security-based area, there are lots of concern among the Central Asian countries regarding increasing instability inside of Afghanistan. Iran could play constructive role in order to address the Afghanistan issue and cooperate with Central Asian countries regarding these matters. And also culturally, it's undeniable fact that there are lots of convergence and historical heritage between Iran and Central Asian republics, with spectacularly with Tajikistan, and that's why all security-based factor and cultural factor, economic factor are driving Iran in order to expand its cooperation and multilateral cooperation with Central Asian republics. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Many thanks. Thank you very much. Now we can turn to question and answer and comments session. This session is free, a free session. Is there any question or any comment to any question to the presenters or any comment additional? As far as I see, we do not have the speakers that should have been up to now. I'm going to conclude this session.
Sorry, I want to say something regarding the organization of Turkic state. You said that the pessimistic points of view highlighted, but to my way of thinking, just practical and grounded approaches have been explained by all their participants. Culturally, definitely there are some obstacles in escalation of cooperation between Central Asian countries, but to my way of thinking, those countries have focused on economic aspects of cooperation. If we look at the strategic plan for cooperation until 2014 that has been concluded between member of the Turkish organization of Turkic state, this point has been highlighted more. For example, they are focused on diversifying their transportation corridors and also eradicating trade obstacles and trying to finalize middle corridors. Mostly, cooperation on economic areas have been highlighted by those countries rather than security-based area or cultural-based areas.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other comment? Okay. Before concluding this session, could I ask from all who are available, can you turn on your cameras? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I can echo that the first session is concluded, and the second session under the moderation of Associate Professor Bülent Durgun. The second session will start at 12:45. Up to that time, we will take a lunch break. Many thanks for your contributions.
Thank you so much. Go in peace and prosperity. See you later.
See you.